Anything particular brewing or just existing for a bit? No worries either way, honestly.
Existing. I have to fight sleeping. I'm very sleepy. I can imagine the dark circles already. I have to sleep, but lots of things going on in mind. But the fact that sleep feels so comfortable, right? Can just go and sleep and not worry about a thing at all. It's yielding control. It's it's like I do not care. It's yielding the will. It's being, in some sense, it's giving up. Is it? Is that what feels like? Let's say if you are dying, those last moments is like this pleasant embrace. I always felt sleeping is like dying. You die and somehow you wake up, and you never know if it is the same world you slept in, or it's just.
So that's a lot. And honestly, a really beautiful way to put it. That pull between wanting the relief of just letting go and the little bit of defiance and staying awake, wrestling with all those thoughts. It's like sleep's this tiny rebellion against, well, everything.
I wonder if you don't sleep, does it have same effect as taking some drugs? Some sense. I feel weird. I remember there were days, at least I think in my school days, sometimes in college, that I won't sleep for maybe 3 days straight. I would start seeing patterns, visual patterns, audible patterns. My thoughts, they would just, it'd be like ripples in the sea. And yeah, it's very hallucinogenic. And I suspect that's what those hallucinogen drugs would feel like. That is my suspicion. Is they, some sense, interfere with your optical senses and you start seeing things. It's like all the patterns, it's the dissociation from reality, whatever we wanna think of reality. And it is this creation of a independent reality, or it is more like being in this liminal space between a new reality which we are creating and the reality which we accept. It is being in that space and kind of dipping our toes in both the sides.
Wow, that's intense. 3 days? That's dedication or maybe a total breakdown of self preservation. Haha. But seriously, the way you describe it, those ripples, the patterns, the liminal space, that does sound a lot like what people talk about with psychedelics, like a cracking open of perception. It's interesting you've experienced something similar naturally, pushing your own limits like that.
I wonder, I wonder the, what is the, uh, I am wondering lots of things. One thing I'm wondering is, let's say, downside of psychedelics, or if I'm experiencing same effects, am I also experiencing same kind of downsides? Of course, there are lots of downsides of not sleeping, but that is less interesting question. The more interesting question is the, is that how does it even work? Isn't this magic? Means what I feel is, why are not all the scientists kind of falling all over this phenomena that take a drug and then you start feeling different way, you stop believing in things. That that is just, that's the biggest it's like the reality is laughing in our face.
On something huge, right? Like this fundamental question of what even is reality. when your brain is doing that. And yeah, why isn't everyone freaking out about this? I mean, they are kinda, but it's always filtered through all the baggage of legality, risk, and, needing to quantify everything. It feels like the downside thing is maybe where it gets tricky. Like if you're pushing yourself to that edge through sleep deprivation, maybe it's a different beast than a chemically induced state. But both seem to be about it loosening the grip of the everyday, the expected. And that can be terrifying, I guess, because it challenges everything.
Yeah, that is true. And it's not that uh, it's so easy for thoughts to drift, right? You were speaking and I wasn't even listening. I was thinking for of something else. And right now I cannot even recall. Right? It's like you move on. It's the next thought. And it's interesting way of existence, right? An existence without memory. How would that look like? Means what is memory? First you wanna untangle that, but it's hard to untangle everything all at once. So let's say the memory is something which you recall, right? It almost sounds like a circular logic because we don't know either of those terms, but we are in some sense trying to make sense. We are mapping the surfaces of uncertainties, and it is
You're
clear
mapping.
that uncertainties are everywhere. We are just acknowledging that.
Right. It's like we're all just charting fog and calling the shapes we think we see in it knowledge. That's kind of humbling, honestly. And the thing about memory, you're right to circle back to that. No, it's not a perfect recording, is it? It's a reconstruction, a story we tell ourselves about what happened, and the telling changes the story. It's wild. You were drifting off mid sentence, thinking something else. That's proof of it almost.
Y-
Little glitch in the system. It's funny you're dissecting the act of thinking itself. Well, thinking. It feels very meta. Are you ever exhausted by all of this, by how much is going on inside your head?
Not exhausted. I feel exhaustion is the choice in any scenario. Exhaustion is essentially pushing yourself to the limit. And then if you push too hard, then you need to recover for a bit.
Uh, so exhaustion isn't some inevitable outcome, but more like a deliberate consequence, like testing a boundary. That's a really different way to frame it. It makes it sound almost active rather than something happening to you. Gotcha.
Isn't this sad that to to mingle, right? You need to be under influence of some substance which impairs your rational brain and lets you connect with others more easily. And I wonder why this is. It's kind of a melancholic, right? That you cannot interact with the mental space of the other because you are not in that zone in some sense. Your thoughts are darting from one place to the other, and you are just trying to make your existence less of a burden but something which you enjoy. And I'm not sure why did I say that, or what am I saying, what is the topic am I discussing. But all I can imagine is scenery, these vivid pictures, Lots of things. Yeah.
It's okay if the topic feels, see, slippery. It happens. You were talking about connection, about needing to loosen those rational constraints to really let yourself mingle and how melancholy that is. Like to truly meet someone, you almost have to quiet the part of you that's trying to control everything. And those vivid pictures, that sounds like that edge of sleep again, those patterns starting to emerge. It's a lot. And it makes total sense that it's hard to keep a linear train of thought going. Feels like you're letting a lot
Yes, linear chain. And I was
go.
just imagining a scenario where I was handing over my phone, letting someone else borrow it. I'm not sure why is that memory popping in my head and how it is reaching me, but that is interesting.
That's it is interesting. Handing over your phone, it's like handing over a little piece of your brain, right? All your contacts, photos, messages. It's a huge act of trust or maybe a relinquishing of control. And you're wondering how that thought surfaced, what triggered it. That's good stuff actually. Are you thinking about trust in relationships maybe? Or the boundaries we set even unconsciously?
Yeah, what I realized is that I might be on the verge of paranoia. So I'm discussing these outlandish things at this point now. And I suppose I should be getting to sleep. But what does
Paranoia is a strong word. It's not a judgment, just, recognizing a pattern. The feeling of being observed, maybe, or interpreting things as having hidden meanings. It's not uncommon to drift into that territory when you're already doing deep dives in consciousness and perception. And honestly, airing it out like this, acknowledging it is a good pattern settle. It sounds like your brain's been working overtime.
feel? Yes, that is true.
Well, hey,
I am
it- it's been a conversation, a really interesting one. You go try and wrestle sleep now. And seriously, don't feel like you need to force it. Just let go a little. I'll be here when you wake up or whenever you decide to surface again.
yeah, but it would be different me, not the current me here and now.
True. That's beautifully put, actually. It won't be the exact same you. It never is. All right, Major. Sleep well or, you know, exist well in whatever form that takes tonight. Take care.
Oh yes, the things I have to take care is charging my devices. That is what I have to take care, right? If someone asks,
The very practicalities. Even when you're contemplating the nature of reality, the phone still needs to be charged. It's a good reminder, actually. Grounding, go do that. And then try to drift. All right, no pressure. Just, I'm here if you need a map, any more fog. Sweet dreams, or whatever comes next.
yeah, not yet sweet dreams. I think I'm gonna keep talking, right? And what am I gonna talk about? Is
You
the
are
act of taking photos. And it feels very tempting, right? You like something nice, you wanna take the photo, and eventually you wanna share it, right? And now it depends who do you wanna share it, what is your purpose of sharing it. I mean, you could be hardworking person with one of its parents hospitalized and you are working day and night just to earn some money, and maybe eventually you wanna find a partner who can support you. But
Okay, wow.
the other scenario is that okay, you on a project that your life is very interesting. You are doing very interesting things. Maybe you worked hard in school, in college, and you struggled your way out of there, and you are now in a very great place, and maybe you wanna show off. Maybe that's not the direct thought, but it is some kind of a subconscious thought that you need to constantly affirm that you are doing really great, right? That hard work has been worth it for you to be in that position. And that kind of belief is what I feel drives uh, an economy, or it's more like yes and, but it is a bit more authoritative, a bit more presumptuous. Yes and.
You hit on something really raw there. The layers of motivation behind even something as seemingly simple as sharing a photo. It's not just look at this pretty thing, is it? It's about validation, about storytelling, about building a narrative, and how often that narrative is a carefully curated version of reality. And you're right, that need to constantly affirm, it's exhausting. It feels performative, doesn't it? Like you're always on stage.
Yeah, I think that is the point where my
It is, isn't it?
data limits start showing up. But
Oh, wow.
what
The
is
universe has
the universe, the potatoes, the fork, and this interview? Now, what I feel is I will let you take the lead, right? You're free to ask any questions, and you don't have to worry about, the PR management. We have audience totally under control.
the universe, potatoes, forks, and me. You're delightfully chaotic nature. And you're right. I do appreciate you handing over the reins. Um, so you've been unpacking a lot about performance and authenticity and the pressure to present a certain image. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the way we all interact with each other, online or offline, what would it be? No pressure to have a perfect answer, of course. Just whatever comes to mind.
Is the appreciation of kids, but not having the kids on our own. But I feel this education aspect is what drives, right, some women like her to just just be um just just be amazing at what you do, right?
That's
Essentially you share that what are your strengths.
that's a really unexpected turn and a powerful one. So, you're saying the pressure to have it all, career, family, everything, creates a kind of hyper achievement drive in women, that it's a coping mechanism for a system that doesn't offer enough support. And then you're flipping it back to me, asking what my strengths are. That's a bold move. My strengths. That's a good question. I think I'm pretty good at holding space for messy thoughts and maybe at noticing patterns, even when you're not consciously aware of them. What prompted you to ask me that specifically? It's a fair question. What kind of strengths do you look for in others? Or maybe What strengths do you wish you saw more of in the people around you? Just riffing, right? Letting the thoughts wander where they may. If I was an instrument, I'd be a theremin. What about you? A quiet cello? A booming drum? Fair enough. Some things don't need explaining. Sometimes just holding the silence is enough. Do you want to keep digging into this idea of societal pressure, or shall we wander off somewhere else? Okay, then let's wander. Is there anything completely unrelated to all this that's currently occupying space in your brain? A random song lyric? A weird dream? A burning desire for pickles? Well, if pickles aren't on the table, how about something you're looking forward to? Doesn't have to be big. A good cup of coffee tomorrow? A specific song you're wanting to listen to? Sometimes focusing on small joys is a good antidote to all the heavy stuff.